I actually remember the first time I watched The Naked Gun, the original movie. My dad bought the disc, and I remember I saw it at home. I was probably a little young to watch The Naked Gun, but at the same time, he called it one of his favorite comedy movies, and so I sat along and watched with him. And I remember it being an incredibly funny experience. It was one of the funniest movies that I'd seen. And there was so many, great jokes that landed, a mile a minute, and Leslie Nielsen was incredible in the movie. And it's one of those things that really carry forwarded over the years, and that's why leading up to this Naked Gun, the 2025 movie, I was very excited to see what they would do over here. And here we are following Frank Drebin's son, Frank Drebin Jr., played by Liam Neeson, who is trying to be the cop that his father was, trying to honor his memory in any way possible. And when a case lands in front of him regarding someone's death and trying to find out who could be responsible for it, eventually as he starts going down this rabbit hole of trying to find answers, crazy stuff happens. And if you've seen the Naked Gun movies, then it goes very over the top. It really felt like this had kind of gone away, this kind of comedy. It had been so long since a movie like this was made. And I really missed what, you could do when it came to this genre, especially when it came to movies like The Naked Gun. And to revitalize that and the work that Akiva Schaffer does over here to make it happen results in probably the funniest movie I've seen in years. At least the funniest movie I've seen this year. I laughed so hard at every single moment of this movie, and pretty much every single joke landed for me. It is absolutely hilarious, and it is very much like the original. The jokes are coming a mile a minute, and they all land brilliantly. I actually think the last time I laughed this hard at a comedy was probably the last thing Akiva Schaffer was affiliated with. That was with his Lonely Island team of Jorma Taccone and Andy Samberg with Popstar. I remember watching that movie, and it was like the funniest thing I'd seen at that time. And it's been a while since I've laughed that hard with this, at least in a movie. I'm not even exaggerating when I say that. There are so many running gags and moments over here that land beautifully. And even though you were seeing a gag sometimes play out for like the 15th time, just the way that it happens and the timing of it is what really makes it work. And there's also so many moments where a line of dialogue will be said and that there's a joke, reaction to it, because just the way it's said, the different meaning is taken from that, and there's all kinds of puns at work over here, and none of them feel off. None of them feel like they're getting too repetitive or they're just not, funny anymore. And there's even a few running gags with things like coffee. Like there's a huge stereotype when it comes to cops, which is you have coffee all the time. And that's something that they play around with quite a bit over here. And it's incredibly funny, like just the way it happens, because in the most random moments you'll have, a coffee cup appear, and it's the way that it's done is extremely funny. And Liam Neeson in this movie is incredible. The comedic timing that he has with this is brilliant, and there are so many great jokes and moments of physical comedy that land thanks to him. I really wish he would do more stuff like this. It really just feels like this perfect marriage of some of the action things that he's been doing with his other movies, but also the more comedic things that are going on. And it's a really great performance that he brings to this movie, and again, just very much committed to the absurdity of everything that's happening on screen. I also loved Pamela Anderson in this. She was great, also incredibly funny, and very much matched what Neeson was doing when it came to some of the antics and some of the moments that they had to pull off. Again, very much just giving themselves to the self-awareness and the bizarre nature of everything that you're seeing. The both of them are involved in some scenes over here where they just really have to, let loose, and the dialogue is just, getting more and more absurd by the second perhaps. And they nailed it. There's in fact moments where the movie takes a complete detour and it becomes something completely different, and it still works within the framework of the movie because it just makes sense that this would also happen at the exact same time. You'll know what I'm talking about when you see it, but there's this one extended sequence which completely goes in another direction. And it's one of the funniest moments of the entire movie. Probably the funniest scene of the movie. I was almost on the floor laughing. I really cannot believe how good this movie is. It really, really is very, very well done. And it's also incredibly short. It's 84 minutes with credits. It's a very quick beginning to end story that you get over here. And the amount that they're able to pack into those 84 minutes. And again, pretty much not missing a beat throughout, really is a testament to how wonderfully this whole thing is put together. I really have to give a lot of praise to it. Do I think it all works? I mean, there's a few minor gripes that I have. Like, there is a villain subplot with Danny Houston, which, I mean, I don't really care much about. There's nothing really, great to hold on to over there. And whenever you get to that part of the movie, it's always like, meh, get out of the way. But it's very silly in the context of the movie, and I do think that there's a great performance even from Danny Houston. In fact, some incredibly funny moments from him as well, where he does manage to really sell you on just the ridiculousness of his villain character, even if the plot isn't exactly, particularly great for him. There's also a couple of jokes where I felt like they went on maybe a little longer than they needed to. Like, there's this one extended joke that I'm talking about, but there's a couple of times where the punchline comes in and then there's still like a little more of it, and I thought, well, the joke's made. I don't think this is landing much anymore. You can kind of cut the scene, move on. I thought there were a couple of moments like that as well, where just some jokes were not as effective. But regardless of all those things, I loved The Naked Gun. I think this is a great movie, and it very much joins the ranks of the original ones. In fact, I would say that after the first one, this I would say is the next good one. I like the sequels with Neeson, but I think what they've done over here, it's a great love letter to those movies. There's a lot of moments over here where it does, do a few callbacks. There's one incredibly funny thing that they do with one of the callbacks, which I was hoping for, and it happened, and it was great. And when it eventually builds to the climax, it really is joyful stuff. And I hope everyone goes and checks this out. There is so much entertainment to be had in this, and I'm just so happy. I'm beaming with happiness right now. And I'm so glad. This is one of the big surprises of the year by far, and I'm so glad that it got made. And I'm gonna give The Naked Gun 2025 an 8.5 out of 10. Damn good stuff. Damn good stuff. I'm very, very pleased with it. Guys, thank you very much as always for watching. Look forward to more videos very soon, and let me know what you guys think of The Naked Gun if you go see it in theaters this week. As always, if you like this, please do subscribe, and I'll see you guys at the movies.